Hello, everyone. I'm going to address some sort of rumours that went around not too long ago about a certain Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion being remastered by Bethesda. First of all, I don't believe the rumour, but if it was true, well, we'll get to why I don't believe it later, but for now, why, if it was true, it wouldn't outshine Skyblivion because, well, it just wouldn't be as good. Because Skyblivion is basically remaking the game in Skyrim's engine. And we all know that in order to enjoy Oblivion, most of us try to mod that game. And we're very determined because modding that game is actually quite hard. Once you know what to do, you still have to do quite a lot of things to get it looking as good as you want. Okay, so why isn't it true? Well, the moment I heard Unreal Engine 5 is going to be used, I knew it was a load of crap. Because no way Bethesda would use any other engine but their own ones, which is the Creation something engine. Can't remember what it was, but their own crappy engines are the only ones that they'll use because they are very tried and true, and they don't go out of any territory that they just wouldn't do it. We all know Bethesda, right? Like, oh man. And how many times have Skyrim been re-released and remastered, right? Look at that engine. It's not actually that stable. If you mod it, at least on console, I'm not talking about PC, at least on console, you pick any mod that might conflict with it just a little bit, like with another mod, or you won't even know the conflict, but it will be there, and it will just crash your game. So it can even, it can't even handle weather mods, at least not on console. I mean, it technically can, but it's very crashy. Anyway, so that's another reason why the remaster of Oblivion done by Bethesda wouldn't be as good. And another reason is because they would use the Creation Club thing, that microtransaction thing that called mods, when they're just microtransactions. We all know that's what the case was. And it wouldn't be as good. It would be cool to have a modded Oblivion on your console, but imagine how unstable it'll be. Thankfully, now here's the thing I said, Skyrim on console was unstable when you put any sort of mod. You got to be very, very careful how you mod that game and not to mod it too much. But when it comes to Skyrim on PC, that's where it shines, because we've got Ian Boost, we've got the engine fixes and all that's good stuff. But for console, you can't have that stuff, so that's why Skyrim on PC is much better. But and also because you can mod it so much more. But Skyblivion will always be the best version of Oblivion. I actually said that. Yeah, it will always be the best version of Oblivion, because it's just poured with so much passion. The landscape looks amazing, what I've seen. And even if it doesn't hit the 4K limit, and it's like, all this 4K, because we all know that 4K isn't actually technically better texture. It's just basically a high amount of memory usage of a texture, because you look at games that have 4K and you turn the graphics down and they don't look any different without the 4K. So 4K is just a myth that somehow got caught in the Skyrim community. It's only with the Skyrim community, with the 8K and 12K, this K and that K. It's funny, but yeah, I don't understand why that's the case with Skyrim community. It's pretty funny. But oh well, yes, I do. I do know why that's the case, but that's another video for another time. I've already mentioned it anyway. But there's some really cool mods coming out for Skyrim, everyone, and Skyrim will come back. I know that now. It still won't come back in the way I want it to, though, so it won't last, unfortunately. Once people get sick of Skyblivion, if they do, they probably won't, but if they do, and they get sick of the apotheosis mod, or whatever it's called, apotheosis, because those, again, they're very good mods, like I always say, but the problem is they're not replayable. They look pretty funny. Look like my jumpers caught on something. They're not replayable. They're really huge mods that will put a lot more hours into the game, but the problem is they're just taking you away from Skyrim land and taking you to another theme park. That's the thing. That's the problem. The issue with Skyrim is that it doesn't have replayable value. Oh, well, it does, but it's not the replayable value that you're looking for. It's not the fun type of replayable value. The only reason why I'm playing it right now is because I miss that vampirism, that good old nice vampirism, that sacrosanct fun, that dark maneuvers hype, that blood-sucking euphoria. But if I wanted to seriously play Skyrim again, I would need to find that the quests would always continue on. Like, let's say the Radiant quest system for Skyrim. Why is it that no one's touched on this yet? And I know why. It's because it's very hard to do. But no one's willing to do it. And because of that, Skyrim is a little bit behind the times now. It's starting to age where it's like one of those games where you just thought, this was so cool for its time, but it's not the same anymore. And it's going to happen again. Like, Skywind will come out. Skywind might be different, though, because that's a really cool project, and hats off to the modders for that, because they're doing all sorts of things that are going to really make Skywind is going to be better than Skyrim, Skyblivion will even be better than Skyrim. But unless they really touch on this Radiant quest system that Skyrim has, and make all these really cool little quests and stuff that are replayable and you don't ever get bored of, like sort of like the music for Skyrim and the music for Oblivion. You can always hear it, but you always enjoy it. It's not too much and it's not too little. It's just that nice little in between where it just hits the spot and you never get sick of it. Now, that's the reason why we play Elder Scrolls in general. But with Skyrim, unfortunately, it has that issue where once you finish all the quests and everything, then it gets boring, very boring. Not boring in the sense where you feel like, oh, this character's just old. I'm sick of doing this character. It's not like that. It's more like you have nothing left to do. And I see it all the time. I see the Skyrim community saying it. There's nothing left to do in Skyrim anymore. I mean, I can't believe it took them this long to realise, but um, yeah, it's just because the quests run out, and and Todd Howard is trying to make Elder Scrolls 6, or will try to make Elder Scrolls 6 once he finally starts actually seeing that game made, have more replayable value than Skyrim. Now, if he really means that, well, it would mean that it would take quite some time to make Elder Scrolls 6. Because he's going to want to have Radiant AI, he's going to want to have Radiant quests, and he's going to make sure that those quests are actually replayable. Not like just, I'll go here, kill this, go here, fetch that, and come back and I'll give you some gold. That's so boring. It really is boring. Oh man. What people seem to... And here's the thing. I've heard two sides of the coin when it comes to Skyrim's dungeons. People like them, or people try to say it's the good thing about Skyrim, which I don't think is true. And the other side, which actually think the dungeons are shit. And the reason why they're not that good is because they're done in a loop for your convenience, and they're not realistic, and therefore it's not immersive. Dungeons are not made for your convenience. Caves are not made for your convenience. But it just comes down to what kind of game you like to play. But that's the dungeon side. When Skyblivion comes out, the dungeons are going to be amazing, hands down. I know they will be. I don't think there's anything else to say. Skyrim is just that game that needs to be revived in a way that that never will need to be revived again. It needs to come back like it never has before, and really give people the that good old feeling that they got when they first played it again. Because with Oblivion and with Morrowind, hell yeah, they give you that feeling that you first got when you first played it. Not exactly the same, because it's an aged game and the graphics is very dated, but the gameplay wise is there. You still find things to do. Oblivion, it doesn't have Radiant quests though, but it sort of doesn't need them because it's got Radiant AI and it's really funny. Oblivion is a funny game. It's an interesting game. But anyway, that's Oblivion. When it comes to Morrowind, I already know that game is really fun. I don't play it because I have my reasons. I would like to play it again. I used to play that game a lot. When I first got into it, I had to force myself at first to get through the graphics and the no quest markers thing, and it was very hard. But once I finally pushed through, and I got used to the way quests were made, it's not just because there's no quest markers either. We get into this with Morrowind. It's more that most of the time they don't give you precise descriptions of where to find certain things. because the usually the 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 directions are very broken, and a lot of Morrowind people say, "Oh no, it's only with a few of them." No, a lot of them. Like sometimes they overly explain it, and sometimes they sort of give you a completely different direction that's a flat out lie. Because yeah, when they overly explain it, it's when they sort of give you the precise directions, as if, you know, yeah, it's just hard to explain, but they tell you too much of the details to of the environment, and it sort of throws you off, and you don't know where it could be right there in front of you, and you don't even know because it's yeah. That's going by my memory of Morrowind anyway. But if it wasn't for that, Morrowind, oh, everyone would be playing Morrowind if it wasn't for that. It's not because of the dice roll mechanic. Hell no. That dice roll mechanic is fine. People play Daggerfall, you know. But Daggerfall has some things missing too. You wouldn't know, but if you play it, you realize that you need more kind of quests, because even though the quests are great, you still need more of them because there's not many of it. It's an old game, but they're all radiant. They're all radiant quests, and much better radiant quests than Skyrim has. So that's saying a lot because the game is ancient. But if it wasn't for Morrowind's thing, Morrowind's drawback, everyone would be playing that game. Lots of people. What else? I think that's it. There's nothing else to really touch on. Yeah, back to the actual topic of the video. I sort of went off. But yeah, this video I'll just title talking about this and that and the other. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. Skyblivion will always be a really good Oblivion of, it won't have that, charm to it like the original game does, because that's impossible to do. To get the same funny things happening, with the NPCs, with the funny conversations and all that. That's something you can expect someone to be able to pull off again, because it was an accident that they made that game as uncanny and funny as it is. But yeah, don't worry. Even if a remaster does happen of Oblivion, which it will, because Microsoft will whip Bethesda into becoming a game developer, not just some meme. But yeah, it will never be as good as what Skyblivion will be. Okay, bye.